Hey witches, today I want to talk about Hekate, but before I get into that, I'm going to go ahead and share an experience that I had this past Thursday, October 23rd. That night, Hekate told me to go to the cemetery and to the park, because the park is right beside the cemetery here, and there's a big pond there, and she told me to take a silver coin and to offer it to the water spirits at the pond. So that's what I did that night. I went out there and I took a silver coin. I prayed to the water spirits at the pond, and I said, spirits of the water, please be with me. Help me to overcome my obstacles and barriers, as how water weathers stone, as how water can flow and continues to flow through all obstacles and barriers. Help me to overcome my obstacles in that way. And then I threw the coin into the water, and then I proceeded to go to the cemetery afterwards. Now, I was thinking of, for some reason it came into my mind whenever I was praying to the water spirits, I visualized like the Grand Canyon, where like the entire Grand Canyon was carved from that one river. And that's kind of what was in my mind when I was thinking about how water overcomes any obstacle. Well, anyways, I continued on to the cemetery. And I was there actually getting dirt, grave dirt, for some stuff that's coming up on Halloween. I'm going to be doing a intense, serious ritual with a bunch of other witches in my coven. Empowerment for Witches. It's the name of the coven on Facebook. And some of the members there and me, we're all going to be doing a ritual that requires us to have grave dirt. And we're going to be doing this on Halloween. So that's what I was doing that night. I was there getting grave dirt, and it was nighttime. I didn't have a flashlight or anything, so it was very dark. As you all know, the dark moon just passed, so there was no moon. It was just really dark. I got the grave dirt, and then I just kind of like hung out in the cemetery for a little bit, just meditating and communing with the spirits there and all that. And then when I left, on my way out, walking towards the gate, I stepped on something. And typically, if I step on something or whatever, you guys, I just like walk. I just continue walking, just like whatever, you know, it was a rock or whatever. But something about it, Hekate was like, no, you need to look at that, you need to pick it up. So I listened, and I saw there was this like rock that was like basically buried in the dirt, except for like the top part of it was exposed. Excuse me, y'all. So I kind of dug it up from the ground, because I just trust Hekate. When she says to do something, I just do it. And I dug it up from the ground, and this is what it was, you guys. It ended up being this hag stone, or holy stone. These are sacred to Hekate. And at the same time, also, I thought this was like an affirmation or a confirmation of my prayer to the water spirits, because I had asked for them to help me overcome obstacles, like how water overcomes stone and all that. And if you do not know, you guys, how hagstones are made, are formed, is by water weathering through the stone. So this is very much, to me, a confirmation that the water spirits heard my prayer and that they're with me. So I just wanted to share that with you all, to let you know that if you get some kind of communication from a deity or a god or a goddess or something like that, listen to them. They're never going to lead you astray. They're always going to be having your best interest for you. So if you just listen to them, if you trust them, and you just go with it, you will get immediate results and immediate gratification from that. So I just wanted to share that with you all. Now, before I get into talking about Hekate, which I'm really excited to talk about Hekate finally, you guys. I've been wanting to talk about her since, like, starting this channel. It's really one of the main reasons why I even came to YouTube, was to start talking about Hekate and sharing and all that. But I just haven't done it yet for, like, reasons of, I think I already kind of talked about that in one of my previous videos, of why it's taken me so long to finally do this here video about Hekate. Alright, guys. There's so much that I need to share with y'all about Hekate. I don't even know where to begin. Let me think about this for a minute. Alright, I guess I'm going to start off letting you all know something about me. I am Hecate's oracle. For those of you who do not know what an oracle is, it is someone who receives oracles from a deity. They're called an oracle. Now, what is an oracle? What are the oracles that we receive? They are communications from a deity, a god or a goddess, to other people. So, for instance, for me, I receive oracles from Hekate that are kind of addressed to all of her devotees as a whole. Sometimes I receive oracles that are addressed more to, like, one single person. And when it comes to that, you guys, usually Hekate gives people dreams to come and talk to me. This has happened to me several times since I actually became her oracle. Back in the summer of 2012, she appeared to me in a vision and told me that I was going to become her oracle. And there's a lot of experiences I could tell y'all, and I'm not going to do that in this video. But I will be sharing with you all the other experiences I've had leading up from when I first had that vision in 2012 all the way to now. The different experiences I've had that really verified it to me and also to other people who I was telling this stuff about. So I will be sharing those experiences with you all, but just not in this video. But what I was going to say is that ever since I had become Hecate's oracle, she has literally given people dreams of me, people who don't even know who I am, they don't know anything about me, we've never met or anything, and she gives them dreams where she comes to them in their dream and says, you need to find this person and talk to them, talking about me. And then these people have searched me out and found me on Facebook, added me, and then the first thing they do is they message me and they're like, I had a dream about you, Hekate told me to talk to you. And in that moment, whenever I read those messages or see them, then Hekate will tell me an oracle for that person. So that is what it means to be an oracle. She is literally using me to communicate with other people who don't necessarily have the ability to communicate with her at a conscious level. So that's what an oracle is. That's what I am. I'm Hecate's oracle. I just thought it's about time that I shared this with all of you. To those of you who follow me on Facebook, you already knew this. To those of you in the Facebook coven, you may not have known this, but you have probably seen me post predictions about the future and stuff. Those are all oracles from Hekate, and then I just share them with you all in the group, in the Empowerment for Witches group, and as you all have seen, they come true. So it's not me. I don't take credit for that. These messages that come to me is not my own psychic abilities. Y'all, I am psychic, okay? I am clairvoyant, but I have to try. You know what I mean? Like, I have to be reading someone to get messages like that. But with these oracles from Hekate, they just come to me as visions, as dreams, or as literally direct telepathic communications from her, where she just flat out says something's coming up or whatever, and then I share it with y'all. Some of them I only share with certain people because that's what she tells me to do. Some of them I share openly on my Facebook page itself, on my profile, which I'm mostly only friends with witches anyways. And then some of them I share only in my Facebook group, in our coven, Empowerment for Witches. Because I know for sure that there's only witches in there. And some of these messages, you guys, Hekate intends only for witches to know. So anyways, I thought I would give you all that little bit of about myself so you all can know that I am Hecate's oracle. That does also mean, you guys, that if you come to me and you want to know something, if you want a message from Hekate, you can come to me regardless if she sends you to me or not. And then I can communicate with her on your behalf and then communicate to you on her behalf whatever she wants you to know, or whatever oracle she wants to give you, or message she wants to give you. So I can do all that. Once again, though, I can't take credit that it's me giving you these messages because they're from her. Okay, so now that you all know that, I'm going to start to get into talking about just Hekate herself. Like, how do I perceive Hekate? What is Hekate to me? These are some things I want to share with you all. Okay, to me, every god and goddess, or deity, or spirit is at once an energy, a field of consciousness, or a level of consciousness, a being with its own will and its own consciousness, a current of consciousness that we can all tap into, and a source of power. That is how I would define a deity, a god or a goddess, or a spirit. All of those things are defined by me as what I just now said. So what is Hekate? Hekate, to me, is one of these currents of consciousness. She's a field of consciousness, a current of consciousness that we could all tap into. She is a energy. She is a source of power that we can all tap into if we choose to do that. She is a being. She has her own thoughts. She has her own will. She has her own agenda and goals. Yeah. So that is what Hekate is to me. To get a little bit more in depth with it, I hold Hekate in more regard, or in a higher regard, than I do to other spirits and gods and goddesses, because I view all of them as subject to Hecate's will, like as if it was a hierarchy. Hekate is above all other gods and spirits. I know that that's not in line with the traditional view of the Greek pantheon of Hekate, where Zeus is the king of the gods or whatever, and all the other gods and goddesses are subject to him and his will. I believe all that came later on when the male-dominated society decided to just say that. I don't believe that's actually true. If you research about it, Hekate was one of the Titans, so she's from like the first order of created beings, of gods and goddesses. She is the Titaness. And in the war between the Titans and gods, when the gods kind of took over or whatever, Hekate was the only Titan that sided with the gods, with the Olympians, against her own, against the other Titans. Now the stories say that Hekate had power over all the realms as the Titan, and then after the war of the Titans and the gods took place, and Zeus became the king of the gods, he rewarded Hekate by not trying to take away any of her authority or power. So what does that really mean? To me, I think that means that she still had complete authority over all the realms. And Zeus was more just like a ceremonial king of the gods, but really Hekate is at the least equal in power to him, and at the most above him in power and authority. That's how I view it. So anyways, and that's just with the Greek mythology. I do tend to look further back than that to the Chaldean religion, or the Chaldean mythology, which in that Hekate is called the cosmic soul, and that's more getting into more accurately how I would view her. To me, she is a cosmic soul, where she is a spirit that permeates everything that exists. Everything that exists all has as its essence the same spirit, and to me that spirit is Hekate, or the cosmic soul, from which everything comes. And so that's another reason why I view her as like ruling over everything, or as kind of the one who just controls how everything is, because she is everything. She is the essence of everything. And also in the Chaldean oracles, they describe her as the being that is control of all binding and barriers, which is another way of saying that she controls how everything is. So that's what Hekate is to me. She's very much the cosmic soul. She's very much the Titaness who rules all realms. I tend to view her as my own higher self, or as my own spirit. And I believe that she's also inherent in every other person. What we all call our higher self or our spirit, I think, is actually Hekate. So I believe that she's very much a goddess for all people, or a spiritual consciousness for all people. This also goes along with like Christ consciousness, or in the Christian religion, the Holy Spirit. I also too believe that it's another way of describing Hekate, or Hekate consciousness, or her current of consciousness. What they call the Christ, or they call it God consciousness, Christ consciousness, the Holy Spirit. All of those things, I believe, are referring to Hekate. And even saying Hekate is referring to the same thing. It doesn't really matter what name you call it. It's all talking about this divine spirit that permeates everything, that basically is the divine. So that's what Hekate is to me, you guys. Now, I do want to say also that in antiquity, there was an oracle to Hekate that I know about, which I did not know about this until after Hekate came in the vision and named me as her oracle. I really did not know what an oracle was at that time, other than like what little I knew about the Oracle of Delphi, but which really was not a lot. I just kind of knew the name, the Oracle of Delphi. I didn't really understand what it was, other than that it gave like predictions way back in the day. But I did, of course, research into it once that came up in my own spiritual path. I was like, okay, well, what is an oracle? What does this mean and all that? So I looked up about oracles, and I kind of learned about Hecate's ancient oracle for antiquity, which was at a place called, I just realized, you guys, how dark it is. Hold on. Let me try to switch up the area here so I can be more illuminated for y'all. Okay. I think that's better. Okay, so, you know, hold on a second, guys. I keep hearing insects coming out from my, coming from the window, because my window was open, you guys. And I was hearing insects coming from that, and it was annoying me. Sorry about that, guys. I have a spell going with the new moon, and I wanted to make sure that I burn enough offerings, so I just lit another incense. So anyways, when I had researched about the Oracle to Hekate from the past, I learned about this place in Italy, I believe. It was called Lake Averna, if I'm saying that correctly. And in that area, it's a volcanic lake, you guys. And in that area, I think there's actually volcanic fields also in that area around there. And there's like a bunch of cave systems and stuff like that. In one of the caves there, the ancient Greeks, and I guess Italians, or whatever, I'm not sure exactly. I know it's in Italy. But anyways, one of the caves there, they said, or they knew as a gateway to Hades, which Hades is the Greek underworld, the Greek name of the underworld. And they believed that one of the caves there was actually a gateway to the underworld. And it was in that cave that took place oracles from Hekate. Because all the different ancient oracles, you guys, I don't know if you know this either, I should have said this a second ago, but all of the ancient oracles were all to gods and goddesses, to a different patron or matron god or goddess. Come to think of it, I don't really know in my research of any other oracle that was to a goddess. I know the Oracle of Delphi was to the god Apollo. There was an oracle to Zeus at a place called Dodona. The Sibyls was an oracle. I don't know what god that was, what deity. They were oracles too. I'm going to have to look that up now, you guys. But anyways, the other one I know of that was actually to a goddess was the one to Hekate. And what's interesting to me in the research that I came up with, Hecate's oracle or Hecate's attributed oracular power was as an oracle of the dead. So, which meant that her oracle, whoever it was basically like a medium that could communicate with the dead. But in the sense of Hekate relaying the messages to them, and then that person would give the message. So it's like a chain in a way, like the dead soul would talk to Hekate, then Hekate would tell the oracle, the person the oracle, and then the oracle, the person would give the oracle the message to whoever was there to listen. And that is pretty much how it works for me, you guys. Because like I said, I'm a medium, I'm psychic. In my previous videos, I told you all that. But that is very much how it works for me. I do not just directly communicate with those who are dead or those who have crossed over. Actually, the entire way that I'm able to do that was because I became Hecate's oracle. And it reached a level after basically like a year, almost 2 entire years, where I was finally able to telepathically communicate with Hekate like that, and not have to do it through dreams or through visions, to where now she just communicates with me telepathically. So that really developed my skills of spirit communication, and it is because of that reason that I am now able to communicate with other spirits, and including those who are dead, and other gods and goddesses, and like the Loas. I can communicate with the Loas now, the voodoo Loas, telepathically now. I can communicate with those who are dead now. But once again, when it comes to the dead, it is, like I said, it's like a chain where they talk to Hekate, and then Hekate tells me what they're saying. And I discovered that one night when I suddenly was communicating with my grandma, who had passed away back in 2007. And suddenly, at the beginning of this year, 2014, I just suddenly heard her talking to me. And I was like, wow, what's going on? And then that's when Hekate explained to me what it was. So I've really had to learn kind of how to control spirit communication and being a medium. And I think I pretty much have it down now, where I could willingly now communicate with these different spirits and stuff. So, what else should I want to say? There is one thing I want to talk about. I'm not sure if this is the right video to do it in. You know, I'm going to go ahead and talk about it in this video, you guys. I already know, you guys, this is going to be me opening a can of worms with this. But I don't care. I mean, if someone comes on here commenting negatively based on what I'm saying right now, what I'm about to say, I'll just delete the comments. I won't even respond to it. My channel and my videos and my personal gnosis, which the word gnosis means my personal experience of divinity, is not something that I share to then argue about it or debate about it, because arguing about it is not going to change my experience, and arguing about it is not going to change anyone else's experience or anyone else's view of it. So if you come on here arguing, just know I'm just going to delete your comments, so it's pointless. Now, what I really want to say is about some stuff that Hekate has told me in my communications with her. And it has to do with the people that she chooses as her devotees. Okay? A lot of you who are devotees to Hekate will already know this, but to those of you who are not, this is going to be something you either accept as true or you do not. That's your choice. But I'm still going to be sharing this because it is what I have discovered and found to be true from my experiences. Hekate is a goddess who chooses her devotees, okay? Some other gods and goddesses do that as well, but not necessarily. There are a lot of gods and goddesses that they're kind of fickle in the sense of you can just start to worship them and they'll just become your patron or matron in that way, just because you chose them or you choose to work with them for whatever reasons. You just like their energy, you like what they represent, it resonates with you, whatever. So you just start worshiping them, which is how a lot of traditional people do it, like with kind of the neo-paganism or the traditional Hellenics who are recreating the ancient Greek religion. They just worship a god automatically without necessarily feeling a calling to that deity. They just worship them. Okay, as a daily practice. But now when it comes to Hekate, I'm just going to tell y'all right now, from my experience, from me talking with others, with the shared experience, Hekate does not truly work with these people who just claim her as their deity or whatever. She chooses who's going to work with her. She chooses who she's going to work with, is how I should say it. You can worship her all day long, but unless she chooses to pursue that relationship with you, unless she chooses to work with you, that's just how it is. So my point is that with these people that she's choosing, she will put what is known as a calling. She will put, almost to the point to where it's outrageous, she will put a bunch of signs and omens and symbols, and like everywhere you look, she will just pop up. It'll be her symbols, her animals, her signs, her numbers, and she will just like bombard you with that. And that is her calling out to you to work with her. So if that's happening to you now, you can be sure that Hekate is calling out to you and she wants to work with you. She has her own agendas, you guys. These gods and goddesses, they have their consciousness. They have their own agendas and goals. And Hekate is very much a goddess who chooses the witches that she wants to work with. And here's the part that really is going to become controversial, is the fact that Hekate only, excuse me, you guys, in my experience, Hekate only chooses to work with blood witches. Okay? A blood witch is someone who has a lineage of people who did witchcraft in their family, in their bloodline. That doesn't necessarily mean like immediately your parents or even your grandparents or even their parents and grandparents. It just means that somewhere in your lineage, in your ancestry, there was witches in your bloodline who practiced witchcraft. And I don't know why, I don't really understand it completely, but for some reason, Hekate really only chooses to work with blood witches, those who are living now, who have a lineage of witchcraft and witches in their family history. So, I know that's going to be controversial because I know that I'm pretty sure that there are a lot of people who are worshiping Hekate and working with her on their end, who don't have a history or an ancestry of witches in their bloodline. So, like I said, I'm just sharing my experience of it all, and based off what Hekate herself has told me in my gnosis and in my communications. Now, I do want to talk a little bit about blood witches. Since I brought it up, I might as well explain a little bit about that. As you all know, I am a blood witch, both in my ancestry, going back, and also directly from my mother. She's a high priestess. And then also directly from my grandmother, who practiced Mexican like folk magic and white magic, where I learned a lot of that kind of magic from her, like hoodoo type eclectic witchcraft or magic, which I learned that from her. And then I learned more of like the traditional like ceremonial type magic from my mother, and then from my own like experimenting and working with spirits and stuff like that, and then obviously a lot from Hekate herself. So blood witches are different from others who just begin to do witchcraft. I know that's going to be another controversial statement, but it's the truth. If you don't agree, oh well, I don't want to hear about it. I don't want to hear your comments about you disagreeing with that. You are just free to turn off this video and to just not agree with me. But you are not free to try to start arguing with me or something like that. I will not allow that or tolerate it. So blood witches are different from other witches who just don't have a lineage of witches in their bloodline, and they just begin practicing witchcraft in this lifetime. It's similar like how things are hereditary, genetics, like how, for instance, if your grandmother was an artist, or she was good at art, and then her son was, which would be your father or whatever, was good at art as well, and then you're born and you have a natural ability and talent for art or for drawing and stuff like that. It's hereditary. It's like eclectic. I mean, not eclectic. What was I trying to say? Genetics. It's a hereditary and genetic thing. So, like basically like what someone learns and practices in their lifetime will kind of naturally be inherited by their offspring and by their children. That's how it is with blood witches. And it has to do with natural abilities, psychic powers, just kind of personal power, charisma, and animal magnetism as well. Just in how much power that blood witches' bodies can hold compared to just like a normal witch. There's these differences, guys, and I wanted to talk about this because I feel like this is something that is not addressed in the witch community or in the pagan witchcraft community. I never see this topic come up because it is so controversial, and people who are not blood witches take offense to it automatically, rather than really looking at it as like how I would look at it is like with a scientific mind. Like, it intrigues me, it interests me, and I want to learn more about it. And I feel like that's how it needs to begin to be looked at by all of y'all witches out there who are you're either blood witches yourselves or you're not. Instead of looking at this and being offended, I feel like people need to start looking at this and taking real interest in it and wanting to learn more about it and experiment with it and be intrigued by it and just take a scientific approach where this is just something that needs to be studied and acknowledged as something that is real in that way. Blood witches have unique abilities that other witches don't. We are naturally more psychic, just naturally, without even trying to develop that. We just have that skill. A lot of blood witches, like right now, basically, Hekate is sending to me a lot of blood witches that she has called out to. They've noticed the signs. They've begun having dreams and stuff. She sent them to me in dreams. And once they start talking to me and all that, then she tells me, this is another blood witch I've sent to you. Tell them about what that means and all this. I noticed lately she is sending me a lot of blood witches, wanting me to kind of help them awaken to the fact that they are blood witches. A lot of them don't understand why they have these certain abilities. They don't understand why they feel like a very intense and strong power in them. They feel it begin to awaken once they get on the path and start working with Hekate. They really start to feel the power in their blood start to awaken, but they don't understand it. And because they don't have the ability to consciously communicate with Hekate, she's been sending them to me and then telling me basically what she wants me to say to them on her behalf. So that's what's been going on a lot lately, you guys. Some of you who are watching this, you are those people. Janet, I hope I'm saying your name right. Elena. Yeah, I think that's right. Elena is the most recent one who messaged me. Y'all forgive my sister Cassie in the background. But Elena is one of the ones who recently messaged me. She was actually sent to me by another mutual friend that we had. And actually, she did not have a dream where Hekate said it to me, but she did the night before that she met me on Facebook. She said that she was meditating and just like absent-mindedly drawing while she was meditating, you guys. She drew a picture of me. Straight up, she drew a picture of me, you guys, and she even wrote my witch name above the picture. Which obviously you guys know the name Hecaterios, which is the name of my channel, is also my witch name. My actual witch name as Hecate's Oracle is Hecaterios. But I usually don't share that, but I guess I just did for the sake of telling you all this. She actually wrote down my true, actual witch name, Hecaterios. Heketerios, which means he of Hekate. That is the name that Hekate gave me as her oracle. And this lady, she actually wrote down that name, and that name I have not wrote anywhere. I have not shared that anywhere. I have not told anyone about it, except for one other person, my sister in Hekate, Jackie. And I only told her because she can communicate with Hekate too, pretty much at the same level as me. And so she kind of found out my name in that way, and then asked me about it. And I was like, yeah, that actually really is my witch name. I say Hecaterios, Heketerios, and leave out the second E, just because you're not supposed to be sharing your witch name with, like, the public or whatever. But I thought that was very interesting that this woman, Elena, was able to, in her mind's eye, just know what I look like and draw a picture of me, and then know to label it as my actual true witch name, as Hecate's oracle. And then the next day is when she even found out about me in actuality, and then messaged me asking about Hekate and all that. And then over our discussion, come to find out that yes, she is a blood witch, and it's another one of the many that Hekate has been sending to me. And that's when she shared to me of the picture she drew and the name. And then that's when I was like, oh my god, that's my real witch name. So you definitely, she definitely knew without knowing, you know what I mean? So that's what I'm trying to say, you guys. These people who are blood witches, they have abilities that other witches just don't have naturally. I'm not saying that other witches can't develop the exact same abilities, because they can. But these blood witches have these powers without consciously controlling it at will, or even understanding what it is. And that very much has to do with the genetics, with the hereditary, and the blood lineage. It's in the blood, it's in the DNA, you guys. Witchcraft. Witchcraft is a learned skill, okay? You look to the root word witch, which goes back to the word, I'm not sure how to pronounce it, but it goes back to the word, I'm going to spell it, W-I-C-C-E, and the literal translation of that word just means wise. Okay, then you look at the word craft. Craft means an art, a creative art. So when you put those together, witchcraft, you get the creative art of the wise, or the creative art of wisdom. So witchcraft is a skill, okay? But blood witches have a natural ability and a natural power and a natural magic. They still need to learn witchcraft. They might learn it more quickly because the power is already there. The abilities are already there. So really they just need to learn kind of how to control it, which is learning witchcraft. And they'll be able to control it that way. But for witches who are not blood witches, they will have to also learn witchcraft and also learn and develop their power and abilities, as well as learning witchcraft and how to control those abilities. So it's very much an inherited thing, but at the same time, and this is also what we call natural witches. Natural witches are not necessarily blood witches. A natural witch is someone who naturally has powers and abilities, and who naturally does magic without knowing witchcraft first. So mostly blood witches are natural witches who then have to later on learn the skill of witchcraft to control it. But there are also non-blood witches who can be born as natural witches with just their powers are just turned on from the moment they're born. So that's kind of another thing I wanted to address, was kind of letting you all know the differences between those things, those different terms that we use. Okay. So I think I'm going to end this video with that. I just wanted to talk a little bit about Hekate, talk a little bit about being her oracle, talk a little bit about blood witches, and kind of the hereditary aspect of all that. That's basically it for this video, because I don't want to get into different topics. Like I had said before, I like to do at most just 2 different topics in my videos, because I don't want them to become like confusing or too mashed up with the different things. So I'm going to go ahead and end this one. I will be right back, because there's some other stuff I want to talk about tonight actually. So I will be right back, you guys. Anyways, hail to the witches, blessed be.